Jojo. After finishing the fated fight between Dio and the Joestar bloodline, Araki decided to return to his origin and explore his love for saloon shootouts, rugged deserts, and horseback adventures with a brand new continuity set in the Wild West. Even if you have never seen JoJo before, the ghostly power of stands and characters standing in physically impossible poses are instantly recognizable features of the series. So for part 7, we have a JoJo who cannot stand and has no stand.
Araki, you're a genius!
The adventure begins in San Diego Bay, next to the Hotel del Coronado, the real-life building having opened just 2 years prior. A few months earlier, Idaho and Wyoming became the 43rd and 44th states to join the Union respectively. But the truth is that by this time, the days of the cowboy were already coming to an end. Sorry, folks. What could be once done with a horse and a bit of gunpowder was now run by rail and big oil. The pioneering spirit was being lost to all but wealthy lords and robber barons, the thin gold upper crust of this gilded age. But there was one man who would not stand for this. No, not Johnny Joestar. This man, dressed like Kevin the Sea Cucumber, Steven Steele. Pro Second Amendment and unafraid of failure. If you dismiss the part about him covering medical expenses, Steven Steele was a true American who believed in the pioneering spirit and that it could belong to anyone so long as they were willing to accept the challenge. Such was the inspiration for the grand cross-continent race from San Diego to New York City, a wild competition for $50 million. But who is Steven Steele bawling his eyes out to? Of course, longtime JoJo fans already know, but during the entire 47-minute episode, her name actually isn't said a single time. It's said once in the English dub, but even then, is she his daughter? His assistant? I joked about having a JoJo with no stand, but this was an actual problem. Prior seasons could premiere with a couple of characters relevant to the stand battles featured in the episode, but a race about both speed and survival, by its nature, has the largest number of people from the very start. Having so many characters competing for screen time could result in their conflicts feeling rushed, lacking suspense or impact, especially without any flashy stand abilities to rely on. Or in the words of the director for Steel Ball Run, up until now, battles in JoJo were concluded with an Aura Aura rush, isn't that right? I think it is a staple of the JoJo series that is easily recognizable, but we cannot use it for Steel Ball Run. The difficult problem now is how to make an enemy's defeat feel just as cathartic. This conundrum had never occurred to me, so how did they meet this challenge in part 1 and 2, neither of which had stands? Both Ripple and Spin of course appear simple in comparison to stands, given that they have the potential to do literally anything. The solution to the no stand problem was time. If they adapted more chapters in less time, the intense, rapid pacing would produce the force needed to match the thrill and excitement of stand battles. But to achieve this while sacrificing as little of the original work as possible, they needed the help of writer Yasuko Kobayashi, best known for her work on Super Sentai and she was responsible for the overall structure of the JoJo adaptation, and so the anime debuted with the first 2 episodes adapting 11 chapters of the Phantom Blood manga. Part 3, the one that introduced stands to the series, adapted just 7 chapters for comparison. Needless to say, the rollercoaster ride approach to pacing paid off tremendously, and the series has continued for almost 14 years with the release of Steel Ball Run. Yasuko Kobayashi has also specifically written the first 2 episodes for every JoJo part to date, and has returned to work on part 7. In collaboration with the series director and their team, we once again have 11 chapters adapted in just 2 episodes. Small caveat though, 11 chapters of Phantom Blood is roughly 200 pages, while it is roughly 370 pages of Steel Ball Run. Actually a huge caveat, over 80% more. There was no way they could do this in just 47 minutes without cutting a bunch of material, such as the introduction to Steven Steele and to his unidentified female companion. See how strange this is? At least we still get a shot of Gyro and his bear, letting us know that if Gyro was alive today, he would totally own a Labubu. You know it's true. Our first look at Gyro in Spin is beautifully adapted in full. He catches a wannabe thief wearing in-universe Steel Ball Run merch, right as he tries to pinch a pair of $10 coins. Gyro gives the most devious expression before he spawns in 2 officers to drag the thief away. But the lying, scheming, good-for-nothing couldn't help but run his mouth, so Gyro challenges him to a Western classic, a quick draw. The thief accepted the duel, but he could not accept his fate. Even as his arm is twisted into the shape of an AI company logo, he still goes for the kill shot. Is that a Fist of the North Star reference? When Steel Ball Run was first published in 2004, tattoos and piercings were not all that uncommon, so Araki decided to give Gyro big golden grills to really bring out his outlaw charm, and to add to his mysterious aura. Similar to Will's the Pele from Part 1, his magician attire and swindler stash making him look very suspicious. But for Johnny, the mystery made Gyro all the more intriguing. He was born into a family of English aristocrats. Young Johnny had a genuine talent and appreciation for horse riding, winning the world-renowned Kentucky Derby at 16 years old, only to be outdone by the real-life Alonzo Clayton in 1892, winning the race at just 15 years old. And from the manga, you can see that Johnny, nicknamed Joe Kid / Jojo, was even in touch with royalty, politicians, and their daughters too. But he abused his rich kid privileges one too many times, and is made to pay for his action, reminding us that this is a work of fiction. The Remington Model 95 Double Derringer is aimed at Johnny Joestar's back, and with one shot, he is sent crashing down from heaven. Johnny wakes up in the dark, trapped in his own body, the room steeped in the smell of death. The nightmare is complete, with its own paralysis demon that Johnny desperately tries to shout orders at, only to be served a roll of newspaper, hot and fresh off the press. He lost his fame, his connections, his ability to walk. So lost that he didn't even know what it was that brought him to San Diego.
What could be worse than San Diego?
Despite all that, he still had his spoiled attitude, ordering people around like he owned the place. But just one touch of Gyro's steel ball has Johnny feeling things he thought were long forgotten. That brief moment of return was enough to light a fire within Johnny, and he was determined to not let it go. He would use this random guy's legs as a Mario Kart boost ramp. Insane Happy Wheels gameplay, but nope, get rotated, idiot. Gyro stares Johnny down, compliments Bro's muscles, and then leaves him literally hanging. But Johnny isn't prepared to just let Gyro go, and spends all night trying to tame a horse named Slow Dancer in order to pursue him. While Slow Dancer is in Appaloosa, the same horse breed featured in the 1966 Marlon Brando movie, The Appaloosa. To me, he more closely resembles the horse ridden by Clint Eastwood in the movie High Plains Drifter or in Pale Rider. Come on, they're both gray.
It's a JoJo reference, come on.
Johnny's nickname, Joe Kid, is a reference to the 1972 movie starring Eastwood, and the name Slow Dancer is a reference to the fact that it is slowly dancing on top of Johnny Joestar. Taming a savage horse is a classic trope, proof of a character's extraordinary ability, or as Gyro puts it, to go beyond human. Such as the legendary Alexander the Great, who at 12 years old took command of a horse deemed untamable by acquiring all 8 gym badges, impressing his father, King Philip II. Johnny, on the other hand, just tanks it. His determination earned him Slow Dancer's respect, kind of like how Jonathan tanked Speedwagon's assault and earned his respect. But the trampling Johnny just endured was nothing compared to what was waiting right at the starting line. The next big obstacle wasn't for Johnny, but for the animators.
Over 2,000 horses?
Industry professionals will tell you that horses are the Elden Ring of animation. Even DreamWorks, the studio behind cinematic masterpieces such as The Prince of Egypt and Shrek, their next movie Spirit would be their hardest challenge yet.
Animating Spirit is the most difficult animation assignment ever given.
And there's a neck, and there's a head, and there's a flying mane, and there's 2 ears, and there's 4 legs.
There's nothing more difficult than to animate a horse.
You know, you look at horses and they're very complicated. We had to be able to fully understand how horses work.
James Baxter. So good!
There are almost no animators who can or want to draw horses. Quote the director for anime Lord of the Rings. If the Steel Ball Run anime was going to live up to the original work, regarded as one of the greatest manga ever created, it would need a team capable of capturing the complex motion and anatomical detail of a horse. So we have the director for Part 5, Yasuhiro Kimura, the man behind the expanded torture dance. Those moves! And we have the series director for Part 4, Toshiyuki Kato, the man who meticulously recreated a map of Morio to portray the characters' lives in the town as realistically as possible. We can see already in Steven Steele's press conference, the flash bulbs were changed to flash lamps to be more time period accurate. Let's see what series director Kato had to say regarding the horses.
まあやっぱりもう何を言ってもやっぱ馬が一番、もう大変だなっていうのを、原作読んだ時からも思ってたので、まあこれは相当ありえないだろうな。
Director Kimura?
皆さん心配している馬の作画を
There's nothing more difficult than to animate a horse.
It's so over. In an interview conducted by Daryl Harding, director Kimura estimated it would take thousands upon thousands of shots with horses to adapt all of Steel Ball Run. Even if they managed to find the talent, animating it by hand may only reach around 100 shots. So he and series director Kato, they worked for years to develop a 3D solution, animating the horses with an exaggerated gallop, covering distance at 6 times the pace of an actual horse, to really sell the power and speed of the racers. So, what do you think? The race has begun. Our heroes need to run the distance of about 6 or 7 top-grade derbies to reach the finish line. Araki is known for his incredible character designs, and it is here he introduces some of his most iconic characters. Mountain Tim, Dot Han, Diego Brando, Avdol 2, Zen Yada, and Gyro Zappelli. All the way back in Part 1, we would have new members of the cast enter halfway through, only to be eliminated in the very next episode. But starting with Steel Ball Run Episode 1, we get to see these characters grow. And there goes Avdol.
Player defeated!
Just what exactly is spin? Gyro's goal in the race remains a mystery for now, but we become well acquainted with his balls. Besides just mechanical rotation, spin can ripple dust via vibrations to reflect light, kinda like how light and shadow can produce different types of fog halos, except it makes no sense at all. How is the ball doing that? For hundreds of years, scientists have studied spin from the molecular level, observing the minute magnetic fields that emerge, to the intergalactic level, observing how black holes tear up literal space and time. Comic book writers will take a guy who runs fast and turn him into some godlike time-bending master. So with the huge potential of spin, you should expect things to go beyond crazy. But for now, here in the first stage, spin ends up falling short when it was put up against the unstoppable luck of Pocoloco.
Yo, yo, yo!
Before Etsy witches and online curse dealers, street fortune tellers could be easily found in the United States, peaking around the 1930s. From one such soothsayer, Pocoloco learns about Tenchusatsu, very roughly translating to mean the end of your time in heaven's favor. The idea comes from Sanmei-gaku, a system of astrology that claims to predict your future by interpreting numbers, specifically the year, month, day, and hour of your birth. Then the fortune teller pulls a pro strat and includes a tarot reading with the cards from Part 3, maybe did a palm reading off screen as well. From Pocoloco's laid-back posture, you get the immediate impression that he's just one real chill guy, contrasted by the hard-working old-timer. That's why Araki included this great line about how, right before Pocoloco bought into the fortune teller's prediction, he had just lost every penny gambling. Now he's told that he's about to reach the opposite of Tenchusatsu, a 2-month period of pure bliss, as predicted by the stars, and he decides to leave his job the second he has enough money to enter a contest to win $50 million. This is not a chill guy. He's a gambling fiend. He starts the race, extra well rested, oversleeping while dreaming of Mount Fuji, I'm sure. The ground, tenderized by the other riders, cushions the gallop of his horse. He quickly catches up, but is still not satisfied. He spots Sandman taking a shortcut and he can't help but take the gamble. I will throw my horse down a gulch and land a nat 20 in order to save myself before I end up flattened like a Looney Tunes character, because that $50 million will be mine. He takes on Gyro's gamble to shortcut through the brush, along with Johnny Joestar and a few other brave racers, but the anime pulls all the risk off the table. Gyro and Valkyrie slip through with ease. Johnny appears to have no issue, so Pocoloco closing his eyes is but a minor flex. It's not like his horse is blind. Still a flex, I know, but by not showing the other racers getting thrashed and smashed by the brush when they attempted to cut their own path through, makes the shortcut look entirely trivial. Now the only danger is Gyro and his deliberate tampering. Why didn't all the racers take the shorter route? Are they stupid? And longtime JoJo fans are probably bouncing in their seat. The idea of needing to find the flow and punishing those who try to alter it being a core theme in the series, one that directly ties into Pocoloco's extreme luck. As we enter the Devil's Downhill, the gambling fiend himself doubles down and accelerates into the 30-degree descent, so steep and lethal that the real-life competition, held annually in Washington State, is called the Suicide Race, where horses tragically tumble and crash, just like we see here in the Steel Ball Run. Pocoloco craters into the ground. Number one hater Gyro Zappelli is as smug as ever. But Pocoloco suddenly finds himself corpse surfing like he's Dante from Devil May Cry. Gyro tries to make his own luck, but fortunate for Pocoloco, Sandman helps him out again, altering the course of the rocks, smashed by Gyro's steel ball. When Araki wanted to include an American Indian character, he knew he had to meet the high standard already set by 2004, with iconic characters such as T-Hawk, Forge, Nightwolf, and Julia. But he did it. Enter... Sadly, Sandman's backstory, and the explanation of his superhuman running speed, was skipped over. Another instance of Native American history being erased. We can cross our fingers and hope it will come out later, but without any context right now, the significance of Sandman trading in his emerald is completely lost, and we are only left with the motivations of just two racers, Pocoloco and Johnny. And it's only Pocoloco who actually cares about winning the race. Johnny's eyes focused on a completely different prize. Like in the manga, we aren't told the motivations of Diego Brando just yet, and we know little more than the fact that he's British, that he's a pro jockey, and that he also likes counting.
5、6、7、左にブレる。1秒経過。2秒経過。3秒経過。
Named after the show's most well-known antagonist, it was fun to hear the dark and menacing theme of Part 3 Dio used for Diego, except for the fact that it sounds quite haphazardly slapped on top of the percussion.
どういうことだ？ラクダの時は少し驚いたが、今ただのど素人と認識した。
Then the pro jockey is snubbed by Gyro. If Diego was going to exploit Valkyrie's habit of swaying every 7 breaths to get ahead, then Gyro was going to full-on enable cheats to fly through the server. He initiates a staged transition, hits him with the taunt, and leaves him in the dust.
Don't lose your head, Diego.
Johnny also plays it dirty, kicking literal dirt and debris up at Diego in Silver Bullet. This is known as kickback, and is a factor in real-life horse racing as well. But this confrontation was cut for the sake of the episode's incredible pacing. Fortune finally blows in Gyro's favor. The Santa Ana winds, a powerful desert air mass that infamously led to the 2025 California wildfires that burnt down over 50,000 acres, is captured within Gyro's cape. The hurricane-force wind is too much even for Pocoloco's luck to overcome, and Gyro sails into first place in the first stage of the Steel Ball Run. Overall, the adaptation still has that Araki quality to it, and is extra impressive when you account for the Herculean task of horse animation. In the same Daryl Harding interview, director Kimura stated that breaking up the first stage and having a cliffhanger would be stressful for the viewer, leaving them feeling frustrated while they wait for the next episode. Considering that Steel Ball Run was the longest JoJo part before being outdone by the subsequent part, JoJolion, I'm hopeful we'll see more relaxed pacing as the show goes on. And director Kimura has already hinted at this, stating he at least wants to give Johnny and Gyro a moment to eat on their adventure across America. If I haven't filtered you yet by going over the American Gilded Age, horse animation, and Asian astrology, let me know what you thought about the adaptation, or if you have any feedback for me. I've yet to talk about the sound design and the music, two big JoJo fan favorites. If you want me to upload the memes I've made to an image gallery or something, leave a comment. Please join me next time for another episode of Steel Ball Run, whenever that is, and take care.